The moment Everett walked into my life, I felt something crack open inside me, something I had locked away for years. It started with a laugh my daughter made, one I hadn't heard in so long it stopped me cold. And before I even understood what was happening, she was tugging on my sleeve, whispering, "Daddy, I want him." Not as a friend, not as a coach, as a stepdad. And she pointed right at him. I remember the first time Kai told me the story. He said his heart almost fell out of his chest. But to understand how everything unraveled, how a grown man found himself stunned silent in the middle of a Saturday morning soccer field by a stranger with the kindest smile imaginable, you have to understand what his life looked like before Everett stepped onto that field. Kai had spent the last 4 years raising his daughter, Mia, by himself. He carried exhaustion the way some men carried tattoos. It clung to him everywhere, from the circles under his eyes to the tension riding beneath his shoulders. But it never dulled the softness he had for his daughter. That was the first thing Everett noticed. How the man moved like the world weighed a ton, but still knelt gently to tie a little girl's shoelace without being asked. Maybe that's what caught Everett's attention before anything else. Or maybe it was Kai's eyes, that quiet, stormy brown with a tired spark beneath them. Everett noticed details in people. He always had. But Kai didn't see Everett coming. Not even a little. The morning it all began was warm. One of those early spring days when the grass still smelled of winter, but the sun tried its best. Kai had signed Mia up for children's soccer mostly because she needed to be around kids again. She had become quiet after the divorce. Too quiet. He wanted to give her something to run toward instead of away from. He didn't expect the volunteer assistant coach to be a 28-year-old man who looked like sunshine in human form. Everett stepped onto the field with a whistle around his neck that he had no intention of using, a smile that dimmed the sun, and a clipboard that was more for show than actual function. He knelt to greet the kids, speaking to them like they were tiny, dignified humans. And Mia fell in love instantly. Not like a crush, not like admiration. She looked at him the way lost children look at a lighthouse. Kai tried not to notice Everett at first. He wasn't looking for anyone, especially not a man, especially not someone who could stir something inside him he hadn't let himself feel since he was a teenager, trying to understand why he felt different around certain people. But that morning, something slipped. Everett flashed him a smile, bright and warm and unguarded. Kai looked away too fast. But Everett noticed the look, not the avoidance, the flicker right before it. The almost invisible moment when Kai's chest tightened and his breath caught for half a second. Everett didn't know what it meant then. For a while, neither did Kai. The first real moment between them happened after practice. Kai was packing up Mia's things while she chased butterflies near the fence. Everett walked over, wiping grass off his hands. "She's fast for her age," Everett said with a laugh. "And fearless. She jumped right into the drills." Kai nodded, adjusting the strap of the tiny pink backpack. Yes, she needed something to get excited about. Something that makes her feel like she belongs again. Everett softened. Kids feel more than we think. It was an innocent moment, a harmless exchange. But it felt heavier than it should have. Maybe because Everett wasn't afraid to look him in the eyes. Maybe because Kai felt seen. For the first time in a long time. When they parted ways, Kai didn't think much of it. He didn't expect to see Everett again outside of practice. He didn't expect Everett to remember anything about him. But Everett wasn't like most people. The next week, he crouched beside Mia before practice and whispered, "I saved you the green ball. I remembered it's your favorite." Mia squealed so hard Kai almost dropped his coffee. Everett looked up at Kai afterward, a little shy even though his smile stayed. "I pay attention. I hope that's okay." And something warm spread through Kai that scared him down to his bones. Because he wasn't supposed to feel this way. Not about anyone. Not after everything. And definitely not about a man with bright hair, bright eyes, and bright intentions. Kai spent his whole adult life burying parts of himself to survive. Everett lived his entire life refusing to bury anything. Two men who had no business orbiting each other somehow collided anyway. Then came the moment that changed everything, the moment Kai wished he could rewind and freeze and understand before it slipped away from him completely. It happened 2 Saturdays later. Practice had just ended, and the kids were gathering near the benches for snacks. Mia tugged on Everett's sleeve, whispering something that made Everett laugh softly and kneel beside her. Kai walked over casually, expecting her to ask about juice boxes or extra field time. But instead, Mia grabbed his hand and said loudly, "Everett should be my stepdad." Kai froze. Everett blinked hard. The world turned silent. Kai felt every molecule in his body stop moving. Mia looked from one man to the other with complete innocence, like she had just stated the weather instead of detonating a bomb. "Because he is kind," she continued. "And he makes you smile, Daddy. I see you smiling when you look at him." Kai had never wanted the ground to open up so badly. Everett felt heat spread across his face, embarrassment, and something else, something soft, unexpected, hopeful. Kai crouched, hands on his daughter's shoulders. "Honey, you can't just say things like that." But she cut him off with the stubborn force of a child who believes her heart has already decided. "I picked him, Daddy. I want him." Everett swallowed. Kai kept his eyes on the grass. It took everything in Kai not to run. That night, he couldn't sleep. He sat on the couch long after Mia had gone to bed, replaying the moment over and over until his chest ached. Why him? Why now? Why did his daughter see something Kai wasn't ready to face? And why did the idea of Everett being part of their life make something inside him crack open like a door he thought he had locked forever? He told himself it was ridiculous. It was impossible. It was a misunderstanding. But the following week, Everett approached him after practice with a hesitant, vulnerable courage Kai didn't expect. "Can we talk?" Everett asked. "About what Mia said. Only if you want to." Kai hesitated. His heartbeat kicked up. Everett continued, quieter this time. "I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. She's just a kid. Kids say things. But if there's even a chance that she saw something real, something you're afraid to admit, you don't have to push it away." Kai's breath caught. Everett stepped back quickly. "Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I care. Not because she said it. Because I already did." Kai stared at him, stunned. He didn't know how to respond. Because everything Everett said, everything he hinted, everything he opened up inside Kai was the thing he was terrified to name. But he felt it. He couldn't deny it anymore. Kai exhaled shakily. "Everett, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to let myself." "You don't have to know," Everett whispered. "You don't have to rush. Just let yourself feel what's already here. And we go slow. For you. For her." For the first time in years, Kai felt like someone had reached into the dark room inside his chest and flipped on a light. They began small. Short conversations after practice. Longer ones in the parking lot. Smiles that lasted too long. Glances that meant too much. Kai watched Everett with Mia, saw the way he respected her feelings, treated her like a tiny equal, encouraged her bravery, celebrated her wins. Everett never overstepped, never pushed. He simply showed up. Every time. And something in Kai began to trust him. Something in him began to want him. One afternoon, Kai found himself laughing at something Everett said, really laughing for the first time in months. The kind of laugh that cracked him open like sunlight breaking through clouds. Mia ran over, grinning. "See, Daddy, I told you." Everett reddened. Kai rubbed his forehead, flustered. This kid is too smart for her own good. But he didn't deny it. He wasn't sure he could anymore. Yet the deeper their connection grew, the more terrified Kai became. Wanting Everett felt dangerous. Like opening a door to everything he never allowed himself to want. Like risking his heart, his daughter's heart, everything he had worked to protect. And Everett knew. He felt the fear radiating off Kai in waves. One evening, after everyone had left the field, Everett approached Kai slowly. The sun was setting behind him, turning his hair gold. His voice was soft but steady. "You don't have to be afraid of me." Kai looked away. "It's not you I'm afraid of." Then what? Kai exhaled, voice shaking. What if I mess this up? What if Mia gets attached and it falls apart? What if I let myself feel something and I lose everything I love again? Everett's expression softened, full of quiet strength. You won't, because you're not the man you were back then, and I'm not going anywhere unless you tell me to. Kai swallowed hard, the weight in his chest becoming too heavy to hide. Everett stepped closer, maybe too close, but it felt right. I know you're scared, but so am I, and maybe that's okay. Maybe we start with being scared together. Kai met his eyes finally, letting himself look at him. And the moment their eyes locked, something inside Kai whispered yes. For the first time, he let it be true. Before he could say anything, Mia sprinted toward them, waving her soccer ball above her head. Daddy, Everett, look. They stepped apart instinctively, but the moment had already taken root between them. A seed planted, a truth exposed. And from that day forward, nothing was the same again. Kai didn't say yes, not officially, not out loud. But he didn't say no. And Everett understood the difference. Little by little, they let themselves move closer. Their lives began to overlap in small, unspoken ways. Sharing coffee on the sidelines, walking Mia to the car together, talking long after the kids left the field. Kai didn't notice when their footsteps began matching naturally. Everett did. He always noticed the little things. But not everything was easy, because the closer they grew, the harder Kai fought the thing he feared most, the truth he spent decades burying. He wasn't straight. He wasn't broken. He wasn't confused. He was finally becoming himself. And he didn't know how to forgive the years he spent trying not to be. Everett felt the shift, the tension, the walls Kai kept patching faster than Everett could melt them. One night after practice, Everett walked him to the car, hands tucked in his pockets, a quiet worry in his expression. Kai, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest, even if it hurts. Kai tensed. Everett's voice dropped. Are you scared of me, or are you scared of wanting me? Kai's throat tightened. He opened his mouth, closed it. Everett nodded slowly, like he expected that silence. I thought so. The air between them pulsed with something fragile and real. Everett stepped closer, voice gentle. You don't have to choose anything right now, but you have to stop running from yourself, at least long enough to breathe. Kai closed his eyes. Breathed in. Breathed out. For the first time in weeks, the breath didn't hurt. Before he could speak, Mia called from the back seat, Daddy, I'm hungry. Everett laughed softly, stepping back. Go feed her. We'll talk later. Kai nodded, eyes lingering longer than they should have. And Everett saw the truth in that look, even if Kai wasn't ready to say it. He would be. Soon. As their connection deepened, so did the stakes. Kai found himself fighting battles inside his head that Everett couldn't see. Memories of his ex-wife telling him he wasn't enough. Years of hiding the parts of himself he labeled mistakes. The fear of raising a daughter alone and messing up every step. He was terrified that letting Everett in meant losing control of everything he had built. But every time he saw Everett kneel to tie Mia's shoelaces, every time he saw the man laugh, when Mia ran straight into his arms, every time he caught Everett watching him with quiet admiration, Kai's walls shook a little. He didn't realize that Everett wasn't trying to take anything away. He was trying to share the weight. And Kai had never experienced that before. One Friday evening, Everett invited them to a small local festival. Kai almost said no. He almost made an excuse. But then Mia tugged his arm and said, Please, Daddy, he never asks for anything. And you smile when he talks to you. I love when you smile. Kai's heart cracked wide open. So he said yes. They walked through the fair with Mia skipping ahead of them, pointing at booths and lights and funnel cakes. Kai and Everett walked side by side, close enough for their shoulders to brush occasionally. Each touch sent a jolt through Kai. Each one made him want more. At one point, Mia ran ahead toward a glowing bubble machine, and Everett stopped walking, turning fully toward Kai. The lights of the festival reflected in his eyes, Kai felt the world soften around them. Everett's voice dropped to a whisper. You know you're allowed to want happiness, right? It's not something you have to earn. You deserve it because you're human. Kai swallowed and hesitated and wanted so badly to believe him. Everett reached out slowly, giving Kai every chance to pull away. But Kai didn't. Everett brushed a trembling thumb along Kai's knuckles before pulling back again, giving him space. Kai stared at his own hand like it had suddenly belonged to someone brave. That night, when he tucked Mia into bed, she sleepily muttered, Daddy, Everett likes you, I can tell. Does that make you happy? Kai brushed her hair back from her forehead. Yeah, baby, it does. More than you know. But he wasn't ready to tell Everett that. Not yet. Although Everett already felt it. The next turning point came 2 weeks later, on a night filled with rain. A night when everything finally broke open. A night when Kai's fear and longing collided in a way he couldn't outrun anymore. And that was the night Everett nearly walked away. Not because he stopped caring, but because caring too much was starting to hurt. And Kai wasn't ready to lose him. Not now. Not after everything. But that night would change everything between them forever. And nothing in Kai's life would ever be the same. Kai didn't know the sky could split open like that. Thick sheets of rain hammered the streets as he drove home from a late shift, wipers struggling to keep up. He had left Mia with his sister for the evening, something he rarely did, but he needed the time, needed the space to breathe, needed to figure out what he was doing with Everett before he drowned in his own confusion. But fate had its own timing. When Kai pulled into his driveway, he noticed a familiar car parked across the street. Everett's. The headlights were off, but he could see the faint silhouette of someone sitting inside, shoulders slumped like they carried their own storm. Kai felt his pulse trip over itself. He sat there in his own car for a moment, rain pounding the roof so loudly it felt like the world was trying to force him to move, to choose, to stop hiding in the shadows and finally face the truth staring him down. He stepped out into the downpour. Everett noticed immediately, pushing open his door and hurrying toward him, rain soaking his hair in seconds. Kai, Everett said breathlessly. I didn't want to show up unannounced. I didn't know where else to go. Kai swallowed, rain dripping from his jaw. It's late. You should be home. I know. Everett hesitated, voice barely carrying over the storm. I just needed to see you. Because I think I'm losing you, and I don't know why. The words hit hard. Too hard. Kai felt something inside him crumble. Everett continued, voice trembling. Every time we get close, you pull away. Every time I feel your guard drop, you build a wall so fast like you're afraid I'll see something terrible in you. But Kai, his voice cracked. I've only ever seen the good. Kai's throat tightened painfully. Everett, it's not about good or bad. It's about I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to want someone the way I want you without feeling like I'm betraying something I can't even name. Everett blinked rain from his eyes. You're not betraying anyone. Not your past. Not your ex. Not yourself. You're just learning something new about who you are. Kai shook his head. No. I've known. I've known since I was a kid. I just never acted on it. Never let myself even imagine it. Everett's voice softened. Then maybe this is your moment to stop imagining and actually live. Kai almost stepped back. Almost shut down. But the rain, the darkness, the quiet ache in Everett's expression, everything pushed him forward instead of back. Why did you come here? Kai asked, tone barely above a whisper. Everett exhaled shakily. Because today at practice, you didn't even look at me. And I don't expect anything from you, Kai. I don't expect a relationship or a confession. But I can't be something that hurts you. If my feelings for you make you run, then maybe I should let go before I make it worse. Lightning flashed, illuminating Everett's face. Pain written everywhere. Kai felt it like a punch to the chest. You're not hurting me, Kai said, voice raw. You're terrifying me. Everett nodded slowly. I know. I just needed to hear it. From you. The rain intensified, wind whipping around them, and Kai shivered. Everett immediately stepped forward, hands itching to do something, but clearly fighting the urge to reach for him. Kai, Everett said carefully, let me inside. Not your house. You. Just talk to me. Tell me what you're afraid of. Tell me how to meet you where you are. Kai closed his eyes. This was it. The moment he had been avoiding. The truth he had never spoken aloud. He opened his eyes again, rain running down his cheek like tears he wasn't ready to shed. I'm afraid, Kai whispered, that if I let myself love you, I'll lose you. And I don't think I'd survive that. Everett froze. Then he stepped forward. One slow, cautious step, like approaching something sacred. You said love, Everett murmured. Not triumphant, not smug, just odd. Kai's breath hitched. I didn't mean. Yes, you did, Everett said gently. Even if it scares you. Even if you're not ready to say it again. Kai looked down, overwhelmed by the truth hanging between them like the rain-sodden air. Everett lifted a trembling hand, but stopped halfway. Can I? Kai nodded before he could stop himself. Everett's fingertips brushed his jaw lightly, tenderly, almost reverently. The touch sent a shock through Kai's whole body. Not lust, not impulse. Recognition. He leaned into the touch without thinking. Everett's breath shook. Kai, if you want me to walk away tonight, I will. I'll disappear from your life and never make this harder for you. But if you want me to stay even just a little, I need to know. Kai looked up, rain blurring his vision. He didn't say yes. He didn't say stay. He didn't need to. He stepped forward and rested his forehead against Everett's. Everett's shoulders sagged with relief. The storm quieted around them, even if the rain didn't stop. After a long moment, Everett whispered, Come inside. You're freezing. Kai shook his head slightly. Not yet. I need to tell you something first. Everett held perfectly still. Kai took a breath that tasted like fear and freedom all at once. You're the first person, Kai said, who ever made me feel like I wasn't broken for wanting this. Everett swallowed hard. You were never broken. You were just waiting. For what? Kai asked. For someone who would meet you with patience, Everett said softly. For someone who would love you without asking you to hide. Kai closed his eyes again. Rain mixed with tears he didn't bother wiping away. Everett, he whispered, I don't know how to do this. But I want to try. I want to try with you. Everett let out a breath that cracked with emotion. Then I'm here. As slow as you need. As gentle as you need. I'm not going anywhere. Kai nodded, trembling with exhaustion and release. Come inside, Everett said again, voice warm. Just let me sit with you. Nothing more. Kai nodded. Okay. They walked inside together, dripping wet, tracking water across the entryway. Kai tossed a towel to Everett. Everett smiled, soft and shy, like he wasn't sure he was allowed to look too happy. Kai noticed and felt warmth spread through him. He motioned for Everett to sit on the couch. Everett did, carefully, like the furniture might break under him if he shifted too fast. Kai sat beside him but kept a small distance, trying to calm his thundering heart. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Everett broke the silence. You don't have to figure out everything tonight. I'm not expecting miracles. Kai nodded. I know. Everett tilted his head. Then why do you look like you're fighting a war in your head? Kai sighed. Because I want to hold your hand so badly it hurts, and I'm scared it's going to change everything. Everett's eyes softened. Then let it change everything. Why is that bad? Because, Kai whispered, once I touch you like that, there's no going back. Everett considered him for a moment. Then he slowly held out his hand, palm open. You don't have to take it, Everett said gently. But it'll be here. Every time. Kai stared at the hand. Trembling. Warm. Waiting. Patient. Just like Everett. He exhaled shakily and placed his hand in Everett's. Their fingers intertwined like they had done it 1,000 times before. Kai let out a sound he didn't mean to make, a quiet, broken exhale of relief. Everett squeezed his hand lightly. See? No explosions. No disasters. Just two people figuring it out. Kai laughed softly. Feels like an explosion to me. Everett leaned back against the couch, still holding his hand. Then I'm glad to be here for it. Kai didn't let go. Not for a long time. When the rain finally softened, the air inside the house felt warm and strangely safe. Kai rested his head against the back of the couch, exhausted in a way that felt healing instead of draining. Everett watched him, quiet and thoughtful. "Can I tell you something?" Everett asked. Kai tilted his head toward him. "Yeah. You're brave," Everett said. "Even when you think you're not. You're brave for facing this. Brave for trying. Brave for letting yourself want something after losing so much." Kai looked away, emotion swelling. "I'm not brave. I'm just tired of being alone." Everett shook his head. "You're not alone anymore. Not unless you choose to be." Kai inhaled deeply. "I don't want to be." Everett smiled softly. "Good. Because I don't want you to be either." They stayed like that for hours, talking quietly, sharing pieces of themselves that had remained hidden for years. Kai found himself telling Everett things he had never told anyone about the loneliness of being a single father, about the pressure to be strong, about the emptiness left after his divorce. And Everett listened like every word mattered. When the night grew late, Everett finally stood. "I should go. I want to give you space to breathe." Kai stood too, reluctantly. "Will I see you tomorrow?" Everett smiled. "You'll see me as much as you want." Kai hesitated. Then he stepped forward and wrapped his arms around Everett in a tight, unexpected hug. Everett froze for a heartbeat, then melted into him completely. It felt right. Too right. When they pulled apart, Everett's voice was barely steady. "Good night, Kai." "Good night," Kai whispered. After Everett left, Kai locked the door, leaned against it, and finally let himself smile. Really smile. Because for the first time in years, he felt hope. And he wasn't afraid of it anymore. The following morning, Kai woke earlier than usual. Not because of worry, not like the mornings that had followed him for years like shadows he couldn't shake. This time it was something different. A softness. A hum of anticipation he didn't want to admit, but felt all the same. He found himself standing at the kitchen counter staring at his coffee as it brewed, realizing he had been smiling for at least 5 straight minutes. A real smile. One that tugged at his cheeks in a way that felt almost foreign. He tried to school his expression when Mia came down the stairs, but of course she noticed immediately. She was sharp like that. Sharp in the way kids were when it came to things that mattered. "Daddy," she said, narrowing her eyes playfully as she climbed onto a stool. "You look weird." Kai raised an eyebrow. "Weird how?" "Like you're happy." She squinted. "But like a secret happy." Kai swallowed around a laugh. "Is that a bad thing?" "No." Mia kicked her feet under the counter. "It's nice. You should keep it." He exhaled a soft breath, leaning over to kiss the top of her head. "I'll try." She grinned, thoughtful for a moment. "Is it because of Everett?" Kai's hand paused mid-reach for the milk. Mia looked utterly unbothered. Just curious. Innocently observational. She stirred her cereal like she was discussing the weather. "Maybe," Kai said carefully. "That's good," she replied simply. "He makes you less lonely." Kai froze. Lonely. The word hit him harder than all the others she could have chosen. He didn't think kids noticed things like that. He had spent so long trying to make sure she never saw the cracks, never felt the weight he carried when the house felt too quiet. But she had seen. She had always seen. He sat beside her, brushing a curl behind her ear. "You're too smart." "I know," she said proudly. "And you should tell Everett that he makes you less lonely. Because he probably wants to hear it." Kai nearly choked. "Let's take one step at a time, yeah?" Mia shrugged. "Okay, but don't take too long." After breakfast, they prepared for their day like usual, except for one small shift in the air. A new lightness. A sense that something had changed inside the walls of the house. Kai didn't know if Mia felt it too, but she hummed while tying her shoes and skipped to the car, so maybe she did. At the soccer field, Everett was already there setting up cones with another volunteer. The morning sun caught in his blonde hair, making him glow in a way that made Kai's breath catch even from across the grass. He hadn't prepared for the rush of emotion that hit him. Everett hadn't seen them yet. Kai watched him for a moment, the gentle movements, the easy way he laughed at something the other coach said, the warmth radiating off him like it was the most natural thing in the world. He wanted to walk up to him. He wanted to greet him like they had crossed a threshold last night. He wanted to hold his hand. The want was new, strong, clear. and terrifying. When Everett finally turned and spotted them, his smile lit up so effortlessly that Kai felt heat rush straight to his chest. Everett jogged over with a kind of boyish energy that made Kai's stomach flip. "Morning," Everett said softly, voice lower than usual, like the night before still lingered between them. Kai returned the smile, smaller, but sincere. "Morning." Mia barreled past both of them, shouting something about picking the best ball. Everett laughed, stepping aside. "So," Everett said once she was out of earshot, "how are you feeling today?" Kai hesitated. "Different." "Good different?" Everett asked. Kai nodded slowly. "Yeah, I think so." Everett's smile softened into something warm, grounded. "Then that's enough." Practice began, and Everett fell naturally into his role, encouraging the kids, demonstrating drills, cheering loudly when Mia scored a tiny, wobbly goal. Kai watched him closely, more than he meant to, noticing every smile, every gentle nudge of confidence he gave the kids, the patience he showed even when the little ones got overwhelmed. He was good with them, good in a way that wasn't forced or performative. Kai felt something stir at the realization this was what warmth looked like when it had a heartbeat, when it had hands that steadied instead of pulled, when it had eyes that saw you instead of through you. Halfway through practice, Everett jogged over to Kai, cheeks flushed from the sun. "She's getting better," he said, nodding toward Mia. "More confident." Kai nodded. "She trusts you." Everett glanced at him with careful curiosity. "Do you?" Kai inhaled slowly, then nodded. The relief that washed over Everett's face was so raw, so pure, Kai felt it everywhere in his body. After practice, Everett walked them to the car. Mia ran ahead to buckle herself in, humming. Everett lingered by the open driver's side door. "I meant what I said last night," Everett said, softer now. "I'm here. No pressure. No expectations. Just whatever you're ready for." Kai's hand twitched at his side. "I know," he said, "and I'm trying. Really. I can tell." Everett smiled gently. "And that's more than enough." Kai didn't want him to leave yet. Not without something. Not without acknowledging how much last night changed him. So before Everett could step back, Kai reached out tentatively and brushed his fingers against Everett's hand. Everett froze. Looked down. Then up again. Kai swallowed. "Thank you for not giving up on me." Everett's expression turned overwhelmed, like he wasn't prepared for the tenderness in those words. "I never will," Everett whispered. Mia yelled from the back seat, "Daddy, hurry, I'm hungry." They both laughed, breaking the tension. Everett stepped back. "Text me later? If you want." Kai nodded. "I want." That afternoon, after lunch and cartoons and chores, Kai found himself sitting on the couch staring at his phone for far too long. He typed a message, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. Finally, he sucked in a breath and wrote, "Thank you for today and last night. I'm still figuring things out, but I'm glad you're here." He hit send before he could overthink it. The reply came less than a minute later. "I'm glad I'm here too. Anytime you need me." Followed by, "Actually, even when you don't." Kai smiled. He didn't know when the smile faded into something deeper, something warm and frightening and hopeful all at once. But he didn't push it away. He let himself feel it. That evening, while Mia drew pictures on the living room floor, Kai felt his phone buzz again. A photo. From Everett. He opened it and felt his breath catch. It was a picture Everett had taken at practice. Mia mid-kick, laughing, the sun lighting up her hair, and in the corner of the frame, blurred but unmistakable, Kai standing with his hands cupped around his mouth, cheering her on. Everett's text followed. "You two look like the kind of family people write stories about." Kai's heart twisted. He typed back, "Maybe we're getting there." And Everett replied, "I hope so." Later that night, when the house fell quiet and Mia slept soundly in her bed, Kai stepped outside onto the porch. The air was cool, washed clean by last night's storm. He thought about Everett. His patience, his warmth, his gentle challenge to everything Kai thought he knew about himself. And for the first time, Kai whispered the truth into the night air, like a confession meant only for the wind. I think I'm falling for him. He didn't fight the ache that came with it. He didn't hide. He just let it be real. Because he wasn't alone anymore. And maybe he wasn't meant to be.